Good evening, all of you. Today I'll be talking about the butterflies of Karnataka. So it will be just an overview. We are not going to deep inside the subject, but just an overview of the butterflies of Karnataka. Here in the image, you are seeing one of the beautiful butterflies, an endemic species, the Malabar flash. This was recorded, this photo was taken from the butterfly park, and it is on a flowering plant called Agnimantha, Premna. This attracts a lot of butterflies. So let us move on to the next slide. Let me just highlight on the physiographic features of Karnataka. A quick glance. The state of Karnataka covers an area of 1,91,976 square kilometer. And it comprises of 30 districts, which is bordered by the Arabian Sea to the west, and 5 other states, are there in the border of Karnataka. Let us move on to the next slide. Here is a geographical classification of Karnataka, which is called as Malenadu. The coastal strip, which is called as Karavali, the Deccan Plateau, called as Bayalusime. So the Western Ghats is which runs the Central Western Ghats, which is a hotspot, biodiversity hotspot for many wonderful butterfly species. Let me just show you the map here. I hope all of you are able to see the map. This is the region what I was talking about, the Karavali region, and this Malenadu, the core Western Ghats. Even in the entire stretch of this coastal line, you'll see endemic species like the Malabar Bandit peacock being very common in this stretch. And this Western Ghats, districts like Uttara Kannada, Shimuga, Chikmagalur, and Dakshina Kannada, Kodagu, where the Western Ghats runs, you'll see a lot of endemics in this region as well as in the coastal line, as I told. So here's a map of the Western Ghats, the Central Western Ghats, which stretches in the Karnataka state. Let me just also highlight on the seasons in an year. The summer season starts from March and which is extended till May. In the May, you have a couple of pre-monsoon showers normally. We already now had a couple of monsoon showers, which has triggered the butterfly activity. Some interesting species have been sighted. Aberrant dove blue was also sighted about 2 weeks back, which is a very interesting record. And monsoon begins in June. Normally, the southwest monsoon, which hits the Kerala coast in the first week of June. Last year, we had a delayed monsoon, but hopefully this year we might experience monsoon in the first week of June itself. So during this season, the state receives the rainfall due to the southwest monsoon, means as I mentioned earlier. Then you have the post-monsoon. So post-monsoon, you see great activity of butterflies in the entire Western Ghats stretch, the post-monsoon months, and then starts the winter. And once the winter crosses, again you have these mud puddling butterflies. Okay, of course, right from the month of Jan, February itself, you will see the mud puddling butterflies, but it reaches peak in March. Let me just move on to the next slide. So here is the rainfall data. The coastal zone receives the heaviest rainfall with an average rainfall of about 3,638.5 mm, that is per annum. Let us this in you are seeing the southern birdwing female. Here is a quick glance of the forest in Karnataka. The recorded forest area of Karnataka is 43,356.47 square kilometer. Then moving to the next slide. So here are the types of forests: evergreen and semi-evergreen forests, moist deciduous, dry deciduous, scrub and thorny, unnoted. You can see the forest map of Karnataka also here. Let me just talk about little about the of the wildlife, the number of species found in this state. that is total of 1.2 lakhs. There are about 4,500 species of flowering plants, birds, so about 5 or not 8 species. Let me just come down to the butterflies there. It says it is 330 species, but different researchers have different views and numbers on this. Let us go further. There are different documentation views on butterfly species number for Karnataka state by different researchers. Let me show you some details here. So here in 2006 reference Kunte, the total of 318 species recorded from the state. Then it is Kishandas, 317 species, 330 says publication by A.K. Chakravarti, and also there are other various other numbers. Okay, you can see about 350 species here by A.K. Chakravarti, that was in 2009. There are around 300 to 320 species of butterflies, or you can tell about 320 plus species of butterflies in Karnataka state. Here is a district-wise documentation when some of the published papers. You can see in the Bangalore urban, there are 116. That was about Lalbagh and Kabban Park and few water bodies. I'm not going in detail with all these things, just for you to show, just you can have a glance of this, okay, of different districts. This is my own district, Dakshina Kannada, and 172 species have been recorded. But now the recent record is 200 plus. So you can just have a glance of all this district-wise documentation of the butterflies published in various journals. Okay, let me come on to the state butterfly of Karnataka. So here in the photo, you're seeing a pair of the southern birdwing. This is a female, and here is a male in flight. This is during the courtship ritual of the southern birdwing. Male and the southern birdwing, exhibit sexual dimorphism. As we all know, the females are much larger in size, and they have an extra of black spots on the hind wing. And here is the it was first proposed. The state butterfly of Karnataka was first proposed in 2015, and my interview also appeared in Bangalore Mirror in the year 2015 in October. And Sri Sanjay Mohan then writes to the principal chief conservator. So he was the then additional principal chief conservator of forest. Now, right now, he's heading the forest force of the entire Karnataka state. He writes to the chief wildlife warden, and the government, gives its declaration, and it was officially declared in 2017 the state butterfly of Karnataka, the southern birdwing. Let me just tell a little about this wonderful species which is endemic to South India. This butterfly is an unpalatable species that is toxic. It feeds, normally uses here Aristolochia indica, and other climbers related to the genus Aristolochia. Also it uses Thotia siliciosa, a plant which is endemic to Western Ghats, which is also used by the Malabar rose, again a butterfly which is endemic to Western Ghats, and the crimson rose, common rose also are reported from this plant. Let me just move on to the next slide. Here are surveys and meets conducted in the Karnataka state. The Belvai Butterfly Meet was conducted in the year 2019, that was last year, which saw the release of India's first ever comprehensive documentary on butterflies. This documentary is a 100 minutes film, which I'll be going in detail in the next slide. Then it also saw the Kali Butterfly Survey, which recorded 159 butterfly species, which was organized by the Karnataka Forest Department. Sri Sanjay Mohan played a key role in this, and even Karthikeyan sir, who worked on this for the butterfly survey, first ever butterfly, probably the first ever butterfly survey by the Karnataka Forest Department. Then you have the life of butterflies, just a few posters of the same, which is India's first documentary, which was shot exclusively from the butterfly park in Belvai in a span of 4 years. So let me just highlight on some of the records by the individuals, which of course are not yet published in any of the journals. But yeah, people who have been working continuously in documentation of butterflies in their regions, who are also a source of inspiration for people around them. Here there is first it is about the Kodagu district. Santosh Shetty, and he has recorded about 280 species of butterflies in the region, and 230 species in Kaiga by Mr. Puriraju Kenchappa, and 212 species in Dakshina Kannada by Deepak, who is heading the research here in Dakshina Kannada district. And there are a lot of new additions from the butterfly park also for this checklist. And 200 plus species have been recorded from Someshwara Wildlife Sanctuary, again a great hotspot for butterflies of the Western Ghats species. 182 species from Mala, and Rahul Shenai has worked on this checklist. And then you have 182 species again from the Halgeri village by Netra Bhatt, who is also a finder of the Silver Royal for the Karnataka state, which I'll tell in the later slides about that. 180 species from Mysuru by Arunares Shivaprakash Advane. 176 species from Bangalore by the Bangalore Butterfly Club. 151 species from Butterfly Park Belvai, Dakshina Kannada district. 120 plus species from Dharwad by Dr. Prashant Bhatt have been recorded. So here you can have a look at the butterfly hotspots of the state. A lot of study needs to be done as far as the documentation of the butterflies is concerned in different areas. We need people who can actually do things here in different places, which there are a lot of unexplored places in the Western Ghats of Karnataka, which someone has to take up the initiative for this. So the classification of the butterflies, let me just show you some of the butterflies and tell a few things about them and the interesting facts, distributed in different parts of the state. First, we'll talk about the swallowtail family of butterflies. The Malabar banded peacock is a very common butterfly. You can call it as a locally common butterfly, and it is distributed in the entire stretch of the coastal line, and less numbers as you go towards the higher altitude. But if you come to the lower altitude, you'll see a lot of Xanthoxylum redsa trees, which are again endemic to Western Ghats. These Xanthoxylum redsa trees, they are endemic to Western Ghats, and 3 butterflies breed on that. The iconic Malabar banded peacock, the red helen, and the common mormon. These are the 3 butterflies which breed on this Xanthoxylum redsa. And the Malabar banded peacock, rated as the 3rd most beautiful butterfly in India by Winter With, is also the state butterfly of Kerala, and it is the logo of the butterfly park Belvai. This butterfly changes its color anything from metallic green to metallic blue, depending on the angle what you see the butterfly. And here it is on the Clerodendron viscosa flowers. Here's a Paris peacock, another beautiful butterfly, but it is less in the records have been less in the coastal line of the Paris peacock. As you go towards the higher altitude, you'll see a lot of Paris peacocks, Paris peacock there, but less Paris peacock have been recorded from the coastal line of the Western Ghats here. Then you have another endemic species, the Malabar banded swallowtail. The Malabar banded peacock, what you saw in the previous slide, it is a Schedule 2 species, whereas Malabar banded swallowtail, again another endemic butterfly of Western Ghats, which displays a very unique egg-laying behavior. And this butterfly, it uses the Melicope lunuankenda as its host, but here in this photo you are seeing Citrus medica, first ever reported host for this beautiful butterfly, the Malabar banded swallowtail, and it is very unique egg-laying behavior. Sharon, are you able to hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you. You can continue.
Okay, because it was showing that internet connection was unstable. Okay. Here you can see the egg-laying behavior, laying eggs one upon the other, forming that unique structure. Let us move to the next endemic butterfly, the Malabar rose, which is again endemic to Western Ghats, breeds on a plant called Totia silicosa. In Kannada, we call it as chakrani. As you go to the previous slide, I want to mention that you'll see a lot of Clerodendron paniculatum flowers in the entire Western Ghats stretch here in the Karnataka state, and even a lot of Clerodendron on the coastal line also. But as you go near to the foothills, the number is at the peak, the flowering plant of the Sclerodendron paniculatum, and it flowers usually after the monsoon showers, but sometimes even the pre-monsoon showers, you'll see the flowering of this Clerodendron paniculatum. Here's one more beautiful butterfly of the Western Ghats, the five-bar swordtail. The five-bar swordtail is another beautiful butterfly. You'll find them here from December onwards usually, and they are vivid mud puddlers. Interestingly, this butterfly won't be able to, you won't be sighted in the rainy season, and you'll see a lot of them mud puddling. And the Someshwara Wildlife Sanctuary, which I've been observing for more than 10 years now, and I've been seeing a lot of fiber swordtail, especially about 7-8 years back. There were a few spots in the sanctuary where hundreds of fiber swordtail. I have never seen such a congregation like of the Malabar bandit peacock. What Sharan, when Sharan might, it's a memorable moment for all of us. We could see at least about 30 plus individuals in one area. So the fiber swordtail again, you could see at least about 100 butterflies, in an area where they are known to mud puddle. I've never seen such a number anywhere in Karnataka. Here you can see the blue mormon, the state butterfly of Maharashtra, and this is the third largest butterfly in the Western Ghats here, and of course the second largest as far as the wingspan is concerned is the Malabar tree. And here is the common blue bottle mud puddling, very common butterfly in the Ghats, and vivid mud puddler. Let me just go to Spiridae family, the skippers, Indian All King. This is also a very beautiful butterfly. This photo is by Santosh Shetty from Kodagu district. And this is orange owlet. Orange owlet, this photo was taken from Butterfly Park, Belvai, and it was the first record for Dakshina Kannada district. The orange owlet breeds on Hyptage bengalensis. In Kannada, we call it as Madhavi Latte. Orange tail all, another beautiful butterfly. And then here is a small palm bob, golden tree flitter, which is again endemic to Western Ghats, the golden tree flitter, and mostly it is a scheduled 2 species. Here is a wax start. Not much records of this particular butterfly, from Karnataka. One was recorded by Santosh Shetty. This photo is by Santosh Shetty from the Kodagu district, Makuta, and one more was recorded at Mala by Rahul Shene. This is the Indian darklet. Madrasis, which was recorded at Someshwara Wildlife Sanctuary by myself and Ashok sir long back. Common rasta, not this, as the name suggests, it's not that common. An interesting species also, the moor says. Here is some which belongs to the whites and yellows, the common albatross, the chocolate albatross, the painted sawtooth, one interesting species again. Here's a Lycinidae, the banded blue piaro, a very common butterfly. The dark piaro, as you can see, it's sucking sweat from my hand. And this butterfly was photographed at Someshwara Wildlife Sanctuary. One more interesting butterfly, the banded royal Rachana Jalindra. This was photographed last year from the butterfly park. We had sighted about 5-6 years back this banded royal specimen, but this was an interesting record, of course. The yamfly is a very common butterfly here, especially when the Diascorea climbers come up. You know, Diascorea climbers come up usually in the month of March, April, and you will see, especially in the sacred groves of Karnataka. I hope you are aware of this. You know what is a sacred grove. Here in Karnataka, this Dakshina Kannada and Udupi stretch, we worship Naga. That is then you have allotted places for the Naga to reside, what is called as Nagabana, and especially you'll see a lot of Dioscorias growing here, and you can see Dioscorias growing in other parts also. But in the sacred groves, when there is Dioscoria, you'll see a lot of yamflies. Even about 60, 70 plus yamflies were recorded in one area in the sacred groves. Silver-streaked acacia blue, beautiful butterfly, and this was recorded in the butterfly park. The photograph was from the butterfly. The common line blue, common tinsel. This is a locally common butterfly. Even this breeds on Macranga peltata, but even when there is a lot of these plants in our area, you don't see a common tinsel. But if you go to the Karnataka border, the Nirchal area, you'll see this butterfly as a common species. Orchid, it was photographed about 4 years back by Ishwar Mane when he visited the butterfly park. And it's another interesting record. The Schedule 1 species breeds on orchid, various orchid for the foxtail orchid in the butterfly park. Is another beautiful butterfly. This was shot at Bisile by Pradeep Nayak. Common imperial. The metal marks, plum chudi. Blue Nawab, Schedule 1 species, very interesting butterfly, which was, this shot was from the butterfly park in the year 2015. It was first recorded in the year 2013. Interestingly, it was again recorded on the, it was first recorded in August, in the month of August, on August 19th. And the second record was in August 18 on exactly after 2 years in 2015. So that's very interesting to note. And this blue nawab is pretty common when you go to the Someshwara Wildlife Sanctuary belt. They are common butterflies. You can call it as a locally common butterfly, but a very interesting species. Here is the photo of the common nawab, and it's feeding on a dead frog. This was taken at Someshwara Wildlife Sanctuary. Here is the Tawny Raja butterfly, the red spot duke male, red spot duke female. Okay, they're locally common butterflies. In the butterfly park, you can see about 10, 12 individuals also have been recorded sometime. So here is autumn leaf. I would like to tell you an interesting thing about this butterfly. Every year, this butterfly will arrive in the month of July. Every year it will arrive, and you see dead, torn specimens. The females arrive and they start breeding on Pseudoranthemum malabaricum. The Pseudoranthemum malabaricum is, this plant is found in the entire stretch of the coastal line of the Western Ghats, and it is also found when you go towards the higher altitude. And these butterflies show up, mostly in July, and they start breeding. Torn specimens can be spotted in the month of July, and they just come to lay eggs. Usually no males are spotted, and you see almost two broods, and then after that they just disappear. Here is a female autumn leaf, and they exhibit sexual dimorphism. And if you look at the next video, there's a male autumn leaf. You can see it has been mistaken that this is a dry season form, but it is not actually. It's a female, and you can see the male which has got this white patches. So they exhibit sexual dimorphism. So here is one more interesting butterfly, the blue oak leaf. The cruisers are pretty common in the places where there is Edenia. So this cruiser, it's very common in the places where there is Edenia Hondala. In Tulu we call it as Airol, but Edenia Hondala. And when you go towards the Honnavar region and the Durga Forest, the Someshwara stretch, you will see a lot of Edenia Hondala. And this climber is this only climber is host for not only cruiser but also Tamil swing Tawny Costa Clipper. So that's very interesting. And the plant is also got a status of vulnerable. Uh, and this plant needs to be protected if you want to see the cruiser population continuing. So then you have the Tamil lacewing here, the clipper and the butterfly which breeds on Edenia hondala. The commander butterfly, very common species. Southern duffer. It's you sight both male and female here in Play Park. And recently we have not sighted these, but earlier we used to sight it on regular basis. So then you have the common map, blue at middle. So let me just tell about another endemic species to Western Ghats. The Malabar tree nymph breeds on Persansia, and you can see also the host plant Persansia here. I hope all of you can see this. And this is a very butterfly which is restricted to a very small region. Like it's very much local, and it needs certain kind of habitat, specific habitats to sustain, and they are found in the core Western Ghats only in some areas where there is the Persansia growing, and they don't leave that particular area, and they remain there, and they are sighted almost throughout the year. The Malabar tree nymph, and you can also see the caterpillar of the Malabar tree nymph, the Malabar tree nymph in flight. Here are some of the images from the Deccan Plateau, where majority of the state area is the Deccan Plateau, and most of the arid regions are here, and the arid region butterfly, like what you're seeing in the spot swordtail, very common in Savandurga. You can see a lot of them mud puddling. It's an hotspot for this particular species, the spot swordtail. And you can also see the Anomalous Nawab in this region as a common butterfly. So here are some of the butterfly photos from the Deccan Plateau. So let me just show you some life cycle images by Pradeep Naik, who have completed more than 200 species of butterfly life cycle. And let me just show you, see, these are the eggs of the cruiser on the Edenia Hondala. They usually lay on the tendrils. This is a dry tendril, I guess. So then you can see the life cycle here, the final insta caterpillar of the cruiser, the pupa. This is a Malabar banded swallowtail. Already showed you the egg-laying behavior of the Malabar banded swallowtail, an endemic species. You can see some other life cycle images here. The Gava blue, the peacock royal.
Okay.
Tamil lacewing, the plum judy, the clipper, another interesting species. So here you can see the caterpillars of, can somebody guess? This is of Malabar banded swallowtail. You can see many in numbers. This picture was taken by Vinod Sons in near to Moodabidri, and this is really beautiful to see so many caterpillars together with the Malabar banded swallowtail. Some rare and interesting sightings from the state. The lilac silver line. It was a really great moment actually to sight it almost after 90 years, and it was spotted by Nitin, and it in Hesarghatta, and they also have worked on the life cycle of this lilac silver line. This is a wonderful record for the state, the lilac silver, and this photograph is by Pradeep Nayak. Another interesting spotting is, as you can see, is the purple spotted flitter by Santosh Shetty, probably the first record for photographic record for the state of the purple spotted flitter in the Kodagu district. That was an interesting record. Very interesting. In fact, this is Silver Royal. Silver Royal was recorded, and this also is a first photographic record. She found a dead specimen in Halgiri village in the year 2014. And again, the Silver Royal was again recorded by Santosh Shetty in the year 2016 in the Kodagu district. These are the interesting records, and you can see the spotted royal, another great spotting. This photograph is of course by VC sir, VC Balakrishnan, and in Karnataka it was spotted. This spotted royal was spotted in near Irpu Falls, the Brahmagiri Wildlife Sanctuary. That was spotted by Vivek Sarkar and Daniel Sukumar. That was also a great record for the state. And another spotting of the common tit by Puttaraju Kenchappa from the Motigudda region in Uttara Kannada district. That was also a very interesting record. So let me just show you some interesting, aberration here of the common Jezebel, which was recorded by Baburaj last year. This is, of course, my photograph, but he was the one who sighted this butterfly when he had visited the butterfly park. And another interspecific mating between two species was recorded at the Butterfly Park in 2019, that is last year, by Binu Balakrishnan from Bangalore. This is also an interesting record. So then this was a wonder actually. This is probably the first ever recorded behavior that was in 2014 on 1st February 2014. This was first ever recorded behavior of a spider feeding on immobile prey. In fact, you can see this is a egg. These are the eggs of the tawny coster. These are the eggs of the tawny coster butterfly. I hope all of you are familiar with the tawny coster. It's a very common species, and you can see the spider feeding on the eggs. Let us move on to the next. I think we have finished the presentation here. Here are a few of the references